about all these stories of families that owe so much, and the GI Bill really cut into a lot of that if people will avail themselves of it.
Yeah.
They just need to publicize it more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Promote it more.
No, I think that's been an issue for us because we got a lot of young recruiters, a lot young ones, you know, and so, you know, and I can imagine it's very intimidating for them sometimes to, you know, talk to a high school principal about, you know, like the military, you know, and say, well, sir, if you don't want to do it, that's fine. You know, so now, you know, we want you to, you know, we talk to our recruiters, mentor them, you know, and then say, hey, you know, you want to talk to, you know, a person at the school and see if you can set up a presentation, you know, and talk to some young people about, you know, the benefits of military service, you know, so, you know, and communicate that. So, yeah, so it's yeah, but I mean, all the branches of service are having a problem. So did they start the meeting? I don't know. I saw a message pop up. So.
Not yet. I think it's about to start.
Mr. Alton, how you feeling?
I'm doing very well, thank you. And you?
Yeah, good. You know, you popped up in the discussion, you know, so some people said you weren't feeling very well. So, yeah.
Well,
There's a lot of people that love you out there, Mr. Alton. So,
well, thank you. And I, you know, I'm just so grateful for all of the prayers that everyone set up for us while we were ill. I really appreciate that.
Yeah. How's Jimmy Kelly doing? Is anybody hurt?
Not well.
No.
Not well.
Wow.
I'll mention that in Family Rotary.
Mm-hmm. Well, the meeting should start here in a minute.
Yeah. Here we go. I'm not getting any audio.
Technology. Welcome. William Milne is going to give us our invocation, and then John Barley is going to lead us in the pledge.
Thank you, President Sean. Please bow your heads for our prayer. Our Heavenly Father, we thank you for this new day and this new year in Rotary. We thank you for our leadership who is going to carry us forward this year. We thank you for all of the efforts of every Rotarian to serve our community, for the grace that you put in our hearts to love and to help all of those around us in our communities. We pray that you will guide our steps. We pray that you will carry us forward. Please bless our speaker today. Please bless all that we do. May all of it be in your holy and precious name. And we give you so many thanks for all the blessings poured upon us. We pray for our members who cannot be with us today or who are looking in remotely. Please bless them. And we ask and we lift up this club and everything we do up into your name. It's in your precious name we pray. Amen.
Please join me in celebrating this wonderful country by reciting the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Great. Thank you so much, William and John. And welcome again to this meeting of the West Jacksonville Rotary Club. So good to see you all, my fellow Rotarians and our guests today. If you're joining us by Zoom today, please mute yourself, but feel free to participate in the meeting by submitting any questions or comments you have via the Zoom, excuse me. Sure. Got it. Okay. I want to thank the greeters today, Krista Candlish, one of our new members, Krista, and PDG Ken Baker. Thank you both so much. Just two pop-ups that I'm aware of. One, there will be a board meeting following our regular meeting today. We'll start about 5 minutes after the regular meeting is concluded, and everyone's welcome to join if they'd like to. And then Lee Davis has a pop-up for us today.
Thank you very much, President Sean. All right, so on everyone's table, I have a Rotary invitation for you, and I'd like to invite some of you folks to participate and help us celebrate our new year this year. We have some positions open. We need someone to help out with fellowship, our social events, taking some photos at our events, and community awards. So I'd like to reach out and be a great way for some of our new members to get involved with our club. So it's going to be a great year, and I'd really appreciate some people taking a look at what our areas of need are. All right, thank you. Thank you, President.
Thank you, Lee. And so what Lee's looking for are some committee chairs there. And next week on the tables, we'll have sign-up sheets for committee members as well. So everybody will have an opportunity to participate in areas that they would like to participate in the club service this year. So thank you, Lee. Are there any other pop-ups, anything I'm not aware of or that I was aware of and forgot? No? Okay, good. This week's Family of Rotary report is going to be given by Palmer Bell. Palmer? Okay. We're going to switch to virtual. Alton?
Yes, we celebrate one birthday this week, that of Lawrence Daly on July 18th. I want to report that past President Dave Collier and his wife Glenda are recovering from COVID. So please continue to wish them well. And the news I've received on Jimmy Kelly is that he is not doing very well at all. And if you believe in the power of prayer, this is the time that we really need to send it up for Jimmy and his family. That concludes my report.
Great. Thank you, Alton. And Alton, we hope that you're feeling better as well.
Very much so. Thank you.
Great, great. Thank you, Alton. And I would add to that I had a note from Matt Heavener, and he, as you'll recall, a couple of weeks ago was under the weather, and he is doing better as well. So thank you. Past President Mary Pat. So following up on that, are we going to be able to blame all of our faux pas on COVID from now on? That, that works really, really well for me. So thank you. Okay, Sergeant at Arms Carter Rosenblum is going to introduce our guest and visiting Rotarians. Carter?
Thank you, President Asmuth. Don't want that to ring. I was talking to somebody this week, and I know I usually come up here and tell you all a joke, but this one's kind of serious today. So he said, I'm going to give you a good piece of advice, and it's business advice. And I said, okay, I'm all ears for that. I like business. And he goes, I'm pretty good at the restaurant business, and I'm going to tell you the secret on how to make $1 million in the restaurant business. I said, sure, I'd love to hear it. And he says, the secret to success is to start with $2 million. With that, we have some guests today. I'll bring the mic over so everybody can introduce them. Lee Davis as a guest.
We have Jennifer Mack visiting today, and she is an insurance professional. So welcome, and she's working on becoming a member.
Thank you very much. And John Barley also has a guest.
This is my granddaughter, Megan. She's not only a pretty young lady, she works for me and keeps me straight sometimes.
And I have a very special guest. His name is Greg Polk. He's I call him a cousin-in-law because he's married to my cousin. Greg is a head of government relations with Stanley Black & Decker. So Greg, we're glad to have you. Thanks. And as always, thank you to the team that helps put this meeting together, Joe Springer, Patty Chapman, and Stu Irwin. Thank you very much. To introduce a few guests and our speaker today, here's Tom Snyder.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm going to briefly introduce our speaker and his wife. If you guys would stand, Eun Cho, who is the CEO of Haymaker Coffee, and Claudia Pack, his wife, who is the brand manager for Haymaker Coffee. And I guess I'll head up to the front now. So I'll give you a little bit more information here on Eun. It's great to have both of you with us today. Eun is the co-founder and CEO of Voyage Coffee Company, doing business as Haymaker Coffee Company, a Jacksonville-based coffee company. He's responsible for developing and managing the company's vision, strategy, and overall operations. He's also the managing director of two other businesses. One is Concealment Express, in charge of corporate strategy and development, providing strategic direction and facilitating mergers and acquisitions. And the CEO of Iridescent Partners, LLC, a firm that offers advisory services to small to medium enterprises and invests in early stage private companies. Previously, Eun was portfolio manager with Victory Capital Management, a firm whose shares are traded on NASDAQ and which has more than $180 billion worth of assets under management. He spent nearly 15 years at Victory, co-managing a $1.5 billion portfolio of international small and mid-cap companies across all industries. He also worked as director of corporate strategy and development to evaluate merger and acquisition opportunities, growth strategies, and he completed an IPO for the company in 2018. Before that, he'd been employed by Franklin Templeton and Morgan Stanley. Eun has two bachelor's degrees, the first one from Jacksonville University in engineering physics, and the second one from Columbia University in operations research. He spent a lot of years in New York, but he was raised here in Jacksonville, and he and his brother and a childhood friend returned to the community a few years ago to raise their families and to start Haymaker Coffee, among some of the reasons they came back. Got to tell you, I've sampled Haymaker's products, and there are some on the tables here, and Eun will tell you more about those gift bags up there. But back in the winter, my wife Nancy was running in the Ortega, the Ortega River Bridge run, and I was spectating. So I had the chance to go over to visit the coffee booth there, and that's where I met Eun. And I sampled the bourbon coffee, and it's aged in bourbon barrels. He'll tell you more about that, but it is really good. I went back for a second cup, and even though Nancy after the race should have been drinking water, I had her come over and get a cup of that too. So it's really great stuff. Please welcome Eun Cho.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. I have to say, the last time I was in front of everyone like this to give a speech was at Columbia University at a new student orientation about 20 years ago. So excuse me if I'm not good at presenting, but I'm excited to be here to talk to you guys. I think the last time I was at a Rotary Club meeting was in 1998. I was playing football at Forest High School, and I made the all academic, all conference team. I was the only one representing Forest High School, but that was my experience with the Rotary Club. So it was a great experience. I'm happy to be back. I'm glad Tom brought me here to speak to you about Haymaker Coffee Company. Joe? There we go. Can we go to the previous slide? Yeah. So this is one of the slogans for our company, coffee to fuel your American dream. In this presentation, I'll tell you why this is a very important part of our messaging and how we speak to people and talk about our brand. So we have two locations. We have a corporate office in Ponte Vedra. It's actually a mailbox there, but we really operate out of downtown. It's a co-working space called Expansive, where Claudia, myself, and other members of the team do fulfillment and do all of the operations there. So this is the management team. I'm really proud of the team that we were able to put together. So as you can see that none of us have any coffee experience. However, we have tremendous experience in senior management roles in finance, small business, and just knowing how to grow small businesses. Seng and I have experience taking companies IPO as we did for our previous companies. And most important trait that is not listed on the slide is that we have a burning desire to grow and be the best at what we accomplish, what we're out to accomplish. I should also mention the most important person is in the room today, which is the bottom part, Claudia Peck. It's my wife who is managing the brand. So she helps us to get the brand out there, talk about how we should message the brand with our consumers. And so this is a really important role. We also have a couple of other folks that work with us. They are out there, they're brand ambassadors. They help us on the coffee truck. But again, every time we have a client-facing opportunity, it's important that we engage the customers and give a really great experience as they talk to customers. So our story. This is a picture from one of the events we do. This is at the Ponte Vedra Car Show. So we also have child labor that comes out. So that's one of the kids for, I think 1 or 2 kids from my other partners. In the next slide. So this is us. The coffee company was established last year by 3 guys who grew up in Jacksonville. So if you can see in the back of this picture, the 3 of us with our hats on, we partner up with a roasting facility in New Orleans. That machine in the back was made in 1915 in Brooklyn, New York. And they brought it all the way from Brooklyn, New York down to New Orleans. And that's the taste you're getting. So you know how they say a barbecue pit, if you use it over years, you have that great barbecue taste. Well, we feel the same way about coffee there. So that's what you're getting. And so when we established this, we had to figure out what we wanted to accomplish and what is our ultimate goal is that we wanted to create the best coffee to fuel the underdogs who perseveres, who hustles, and have grit to achieve their American dream. And I will tell you the reason why we came here to pursue our American dream, which is something that our parents did for us. And I put this Jacksonville resume on there because previous slide, please. So I want everyone to know that we are actually from Jacksonville. So I attended grade school here. I went to Hyde Park, High Grove, Stonewall Jackson, Jeff Stewart, Jeff Davis, and eventually Forest High School. We grew up on the west side of town. Now my kids go to St. Mark's down the street from here. My parents still live here. So we have our roots in Jacksonville. Simon, which is our second partner in the company, he grew up in Jacksonville as well. I met him at Jeff Stewart. We had the same tennis shoes on. So that's how we got to become friends. And his family lives here. His parents lives here as well. And Seng, which is my brother, he built a company called Consummate Express, now called Rounded, which is a holster manufacturer out of 103rd Street. He's attending Harvard right now to pursue his MPA, but he's actively involved in the coffee business and the holster business, and he's a member of the Jacksonville Leadership Jacksonville. And the story, I think this is what gets people excited about the brand, because we're trying to be authentic and genuine as we approach our consumers. So our family immigrated to the US in the mid 80s, basically with no money in our pockets and not being able to speak English. My parents' dream was to give their kids the best opportunity that they could have. Korea back in the 80s was not like what you see right now in TV or in sports or in the pop culture that is. It was a very poor country. And so they felt that, hey, to give their kids the best opportunity to succeed in life, let's try to move to the US. So they put us in a plane. I think they had maybe $10,000 in their pocket, and they flew us all the way to Jacksonville to stay with our aunt who was here with her husband. So when they got here, my dad worked as a gas station attendant off of McDuff. He pumped a lot of gas. My mom worked as a restaurant cook and dishwasher. And they rode the bus from Lenox and Lane Avenue. There's an apartment complex called Malibu Gardens. I think it's called Paloma now. And I drove by there with my kid to let him know where we grew up. But it was a humble beginning. We weren't well resourced, but what we had was that parents instill us a lot of good work ethic. Hey, be ambitious and don't take no for an answer. And that's what we grew up with. That was really important. And I tell you, like, having that drive, having that example of people who work hard and knowing that if you do this thing right, the American dream is possible. And it gave us a lot of inspiration for whatever we did in life. Grade school, go to college. I was the first one to go to college in my family, and being able to pursue coffee business. Next page. Yeah, this is a little bit more about me, but I think what was important about this slide is that, because I was so inspired by what was possible in the US, I became a naturalized US citizen after 9/11. So did that. It took a lot of effort, took a lot of tests. I think you see these comedy shows where people actually try to answer the same questions that we took as to become a naturalized citizen. They fail it, but I passed. But one thing that was great about this whole experience was that I learned and acquired a lot of skills being in New York, and then being back here in Jacksonville. I think I could do a lot of interesting things that I've learned there. Next, this is my family photo. This is when I graduated from school in New York. Dad, mom, my dad actually owns a gas station down on Park Street, Amico down there. That was me and my brother when we were young. Next picture. This is my family. We celebrated our kid's first year birthday in the room next door. And that's my kid trying to work the coffee truck. So the why. So why are we in the coffee business? So let me tell you more about what Haymaker Coffee is. So Haymaker Coffee is a local brand that embraces the culture of Americana, the pursuit of the American dream by striving to be the hardest working coffee company for the hardest working people. Our customers are blue collar to white collar, outdoor activity enthusiasts, people who appreciate good coffee, but mainly the people who have the mindset of not giving up and understanding that we have the power to determine our outcome. So we spent a lot of time to figure out what our mission statement is. And again, mission statement, it drives the company, right? This is what we look at as the North Star to help us get inspired. So again, as I mentioned earlier, our mission statement is to create the best coffee to fuel the people who dream, who persevere, who hustle, and have it to give it all mentality to achieve their American dream. It's roasted in the US. It's a minority-owned business. And it's a mission driven to focus on community building. And I'll show you what we are doing with the community here in Jacksonville. So, in any business that you are attempting to start, you need to find the value proposition. What is the gap in the marketplace? So what we figure out what the gap in the marketplace was that our marketplace consists of people who have moderate to conservative political views that are underserved and neglected by large household coffee brands due to their exposure to political views and issues that are important to them. And so what we did was we actually ran a study on this. Next slide, please. So we call this the the Haymaker Opportunity Matrix. So what we did was on the bottom part of on the y-axis, we call it the mass market brands, which is the cheaper coffee brands, all the way to the premium brands. And then what we did, we split that up between like socially left to socially right. And we did that because we felt like the coffee brands in the US are not speaking to everyday people like you guys are here today, that don't shout how your political views or how do you feel about certain topics and so on, that just want to be talked to as a normal person and just be respected for their own beliefs, whether it agrees with it or not, just be respected. So when we looked at all of the coffee brands, these are the top 10 brands. And when you look at the mission statement and you know, what are they contributing in terms of their profits and so on, this is how everything lined up. So on the center to center left, you see all of the big brands, Dunkin' Donuts, Lavazza, Starbucks, Blue Bottle, and so on. But then when you look to the right, like there are not many brands out there. So the one that I think most people know is Black Rifle Coffee, which was started by a veteran, I think 2 or 3 people 6 years ago. They represent the right. But the problem with their brand is that they're out there screaming and hollering how conservative they are. So, you know, the majority of the people who tend to be a little bit conservative, you know, they're not wearing tattoos. They're not going out there shooting guns in videos. They're just like, hey, just respect my view. So what we did was like, hey, how can we touch and speak to the people on the center and the center right, being respectful, but also here's a backup. You know? Oh, there we go. Yeah, so we came up with the Haymaker brand that we could speak to all of the different groups and reach the center. So as you go into the business, you also have to look at your opportunity set. The coffee business on a yearly basis is a $47 billion a year business. We think we can address approximately $24 billion of the $47 billion a year. This is only in the US. So the opportunity is huge. So what we did was we created Haymaker Coffee Company to hit the untapped market segment, embracing the culture of Americana and be non-political as we speak to our audience. We run an asset-light business. We don't own a roasting facility. We don't own. Yeah, we can switch it on. So we also leverage the different distribution-based contexts and networks we have to grow our business. And we want to do this by being non-political, non-controversial, and not being so aggressive in the way we talk to people. Our packaging, it's bold, right? So when you guys open up your gift bags, you see a board with boxing gloves. And we did that purposely because the branding fits our company vision and resonates with our customer because it has a fighting attitude. It has the underdog mentality to overcome all odds. And we're going after the big dogs like Starbucks with our Haymaker Punch. This is our coffee truck. Again, you know, the slogan, coffee to fill your American dream. This is what we're all about. I feel that every day as I talk about the coffee. I'm fulfilling my American dream to build a big coffee business. And so this is how we present ourselves when we go out and sell coffee. Our customers are really happy with our coffee. And the one that I wanted to highlight was on the bottom right. Love what the brand stands for and love the coffee even more. It really helps me get my day going strong. That just kind of gives a really great overview of how we approach the brand and how great the coffee is. And I talk about our commitment to the community. So this is an important slide because we felt like all the members of the team felt like we are in this situation because people have given back to us or organizations and so on. So, you know, no matter how small we are, we're going to give back to the community. So, you know, the local organizations we've been working with, last month, we did a fundraiser for Hearts for Minds. It's run by a wonderful lady. She lost her son that had mental illness. So we're trying to get rid of the stigma of mental illness. We also work with the Duval County school system. We're donating 1,000 bags of coffee to the schools, teachers' lounges. We also provided coffee to the St. Augustine Police Department. We've also donated coffee to St. Johns County Sheriff's Department. And then we're also working with national organizations called Hire Heroes USA. Have anyone heard of Hire Heroes? Okay. It's coming up in the next slides. Actually, let's flip to those slides. So this made us really proud. So you can see the first on the left, that's Forest High School. It was great to go back there because myself, Simon, and my brother, attended that school, and we donated coffee bags there. The middle is Jeff Davis. I think it's called Westside Academy now. And that is Hyde Park, where I went to my first school. So we're continuing to work with Duval County School System to donate coffee. And the next slide, it's a partnership with a national organization called Hire Heroes. Their thing is to help veterans, help military spouses to find new careers. So I'm one of the mentors, volunteers for that. So within the 6 years they've been around, they placed 60,000 veterans and spouses in there. And look, I'm not a veteran. I appreciate the community. I want to do as much as possible for the community. If there are any veterans that want to work for our company, we'll love to have them. But this is what we can do to give back to the veteran community. Again, here are the police departments that we work with and give coffee back to. Yeah, this was fun. I told my mom I got on the news, so she was really proud of me. Got on Channel 4 News. Next slide. So last Friday, we announced that we're now the official coffee company for the Community First Igloo for the Iceman. We're also in Tom Bush dealerships. And I think it's not bad for being around for a year, and we all have full-time jobs as we do this on the side. We're going to be on Target online. So if you guys buy coffee there, and if it's successful now, and we can eventually transition into being Target stores. We were featured in United Airlines magazine with the barrel aged coffee program that had the bourbon coffee, the rye coffee, and the rum. And then this was fun. We were sponsors of NASCAR. The guy in the bottom is Spencer Boyd, and I think the guy on the right, I think you may have heard of Brandon Brown. He got really famous on "Let's Go Brandon" chant. This happened 2 races before we did, but he was really cool. He took a big bucket of haymaker and drank it on the racetrack. Our early lessons. I think this is important to talk about, and I think this is going to change for us as we grow the business and be more about it, more into the business. What I tell my team all the time: you got to trust that all is going to work out. I really believe that if you have the right mindset and if you have this goal, get it attitude, that eventually you'll figure things out. So this is one of the things I talk to my team all the time. You got to be determined to succeed. You got to wake up early in the morning some days. Like I woke up at 4 o'clock yesterday to get this presentation done. But then you also have to work late to get your work done and work on the weekends. So you just have to have the determination not to give up, not let other people outwork you for your for what you want to go after. You got to dream big. Dreaming big is really important because the dream you have, you're never going to exceed it if you don't dream any bigger, right? So if you're dreaming low, not dreaming big enough, this is the cap. So I always say, hey, dream for the stars, and you never know where you're going to end up. And then the most important thing is what we're doing right now also is the customer experience. Customers are always right, unless they mistreat our employees, but they're always right. So you're always trying to give them the amazing experience when you talk to the customers. Talk to them in a way that you want to be talked to, because you're not going to, what happens is that whenever you have a good experience with that brand, no matter how expensive or how hard you have to work for it, you're going to go back to them because you know that you had a great experience. But if you had a bad experience with that brand, no matter how cheap it is or how great it is, you're never going to go back because you're going to like, man, I really don't like those people that sell that coffee. Last thing. My ask to you guys is, please consider our coffee when you consider purchasing coffee. What you're doing right now is that you're supporting a small business. you're actually supporting the community when you're doing this, because what we're doing is that every other month, we're going to work with nonprofit organizations in Jacksonville. We're going to give back. So last month, we worked with Hearts for Mind. We donated 15% of our revenue to that organization. 2 months prior to that, we worked with Hire Heroes. We donated 15% of our revenue to that organization. In the next coming months, we're going to try to work with the Sauce Walker in downtown. And hopefully we'll get the Iceman on board to work with them to donate money from ourselves to there. So you're helping a small business. You're helping us to go after the coffee business, but you're really helping the community here. Please spread the word about us. If you own a company, if you own a business and you have Keurigs in there, we have K-Cups. Love to be your K-Cup provider. But most importantly, when you guys support our business, you're helping us get one step closer to achieving our American dream. And this is really important to us. And everybody that have had our coffee, they love it. And the experience with us has been great. So thank you again for your time today. I really appreciate it. And I'll take any questions you have.
Thank you, Eun. I'm not sure how long this mic is going to stay on for, given the current issues, but it's probably better if you keep the working one. Great story, great passion, hustle. I think you're really exemplifying the American dream. So thank you for sharing with that. Does anybody have any questions? Jeff Ludwig over here to your right.
Thank you for coming. I really never thought of coffee in a political spectrum, but I have a question for you. We have a large coffee manufacturer here in town called Maxwell House. Where would they go in on your political spectrum?
Yeah, so we didn't really look at them because the coffee they make, it falls way below what we consider to be our competitive peers. But I think what they do is they're in the political spectrum, they're in the center, and they have to be, because the way in how they advertise their product and who the consumer base is. So they're in the mass market coffee space and in the center. So you know, they're never going to be controversial, but they're never going to be out there where people are going to be going after their brand. It's usually the people who've had coffee in the past that would like to have Maxwell House, but in terms of getting the young demographics, I think they're kind of missing the mark there.
Thank you. Over here to the right side, Tim Johnson.
Congratulations. Really enjoyed your presentation. I got a question about where you source your coffee, you know, what country it originates from, and also how much of what we enjoy is the result of where the coffee came from versus what you do to it after you get the coffee.
So great question. So I'll start with where our coffee comes from. So we buy specialty grade beans, which is the highest grade beans you can buy. So our price point tends to be higher. So it's anything that is 80 points and higher. Majority of the coffee that you're buying at the grocery store is going to be like commercial grade or premium grade, which is lower than 80%. And our beans are sourced right now from Brazil, Guatemala, and Colombia. So sourcing great beans is the #1 step. Roasting it to a certain profile, however dark or light you want it, is going to have the next effect. But most importantly, it's the amount of milk and amount of sugar you're putting into your coffee that's going to be the big differentiator. You know, Starbucks is known as a coffee company, but they actually sell more milk than coffee, if you knew that. So it's really the American tasting habits of coffee. I think 90% of Americans drink coffee with milk. So that has a huge impact on it.
Brandon Hilliard.
There you go. Any desire to go into like the Asian brands, Sumatra, Ethiopian, Kona, stuff like that?
Yeah, so so we're trying to stay in the Arabica bean. So the typical Asian coffee, like the Vietnamese coffee, is Robusto beans, which tends to be on a lower grade level. I just want to provide coffee that everyday people want to drink. I bought some geisha coffee, Colombia coffee, which was $200 a pound, and tried it out with at the co-working space with my co-workers and people who are at the office, and the facial expression was like this. Yeah, because what happened, that high grade of coffee, there's a lot of acidity, there's a lot of sourness taste to it.
And it doesn't work well. So the more exotic coffee you get, it gets to a smaller group of people that you can't sell enough in volume. So we're going to tend to stay in the Central to South America. We may venture out into some of the African coffee beans, but we're going to go with what works, which is tend to be those 3 regions. Yes.
Thanks. Yeah. And since I introduced you, I'll be the official shill here too. You touched on this, but I want to make sure everybody knows. If I were to say, boy, I'd love to buy a bunch of that bourbon coffee, what's the easiest way for me to buy that? You mentioned Target as a possibility, or are you already in Target?
So Target's coming online next month. We're on Amazon right now. In the gift bags we placed on the tables for you, there's a little square card that has a QR code that leads you to our website. You can buy there, and we're in some select retail stores in Jacksonville, firearm stores. But yeah, we're going to try to make it available everywhere you go. There. I think you had a question. Yeah.
I was along the same lines as
Yeah.
how you could get the.
Yeah, so our website, or you could contact me directly. Or we can do the 10-count K-Cup that sells well, or we could do the corporate account, which has a 100-count K-Cup. Yeah, we'll ship it here. But if you want me to personal deliver, I could do that too. Yeah. Probably need to go.
I'm just curious.
Great question. So I'll be the first one to say this. The specialty grade coffee across the board, every coffee tastes great. It's just a matter of preference on roasting level. So depending on how dark or light you want it. The way we've been differentiating ourselves, and the reason why these corporations and companies have been working with us is that, despite the fact that we've only been around a year, we've done a lot in terms of the community. I actually would challenge you guys to go to your local coffee companies and ask them, what have you done for the community? And there have been some companies here who've been tremendously successful, but yet you don't see them doing the things that we're doing. And so we can't really separate ourselves in terms of the coffee bean taste and so on, because a lot of people are into that specialty grade. What we're going to try to do to separate ourselves is like, hey, we're authentic, we're genuine about the approach to the coffee business. We're speaking to you. We're taking all the questions and answers. We're going to answer them appropriately, but we're going to give back. So in Jacksonville, we got to deal with the Iceman. Think about this for a second. I started this business about a year ago. There are 3 or 4 big coffee companies here. One is at the airport. They didn't strike the deal with the Iceman. We did. It's because the guy who owns the Iceman, the people we worked with the Iceman, they like our branding. They like what we're doing. And this is what's going to win in the coffee business, the branding. Like when you go to the grocery store, you look at all of the coffees that's there, you're gonna be like, who do I pick? Well, I'm gonna first pick the package that appeals to my eyes. But if you know anything about the brand and know what these guys are standing for, you're gonna buy that brand because you know that your money's going to the right place. So this is how we're gonna try to differentiate our brand. A year from now, if I get this honor to speak in front of you guys again, you're gonna see a significant leap in terms of how we get more involved with Jacksonville. Hopefully we'll grow to Ocala, Orlando, and Miami. You're going to see what we're doing in those places and also in Georgia. And you're going to be like, wow, these guys actually, what they say, they're going out to do it. And this is why I'm going to buy Haymaker coffee versus the other brands. Thank you. Oh, great. Thank you very much. This is awesome.
Thank you so much for being here today. I don't even know where to start. That is just so impressive. So thank you. Thank you for sharing your story, and we wish you all the best. What a great local success story this is, and I hope you will all support Eun and Claudia in their endeavors. Wow, giving back to the community, dreaming big. That's what Rotary is all about. You mentioned that this is the first time you've been in a Rotary meeting since 1998. Well, this doesn't have to be the last time you're in a Rotary meeting, right, guys? So you're both welcome here anytime. We'd love to have you. So please join us anytime you can. And we hope that if you're ever interested in becoming part of Rotary, that you look at us first. You're welcome here. So thank you. Thank you very much. And you had me at Bourbon, so, you know. So thank you again. And thank you, Tom, for bringing us this great program. Okay, I want to thank all of our guests for being here today. You two are also welcome here anytime. So thank you for making the time to be here with us today. Please continue to keep the Colliers in your thoughts and prayers, and Jimmy Kelly in your thoughts and prayers. Please, please, please do that. A reminder that our speaker next week will be Jennifer Ryan with Volunteers in Medicine, and that we're going to have a board meeting about 5 minutes after we conclude this meeting today. And if there are no other announcements, anything else? No? We're going to do the four-way test. Is Mike Crumpler here? No? Carter, will you lead us in the four-way test? So please stand as you are able and join us in the four-way test. Thank you all for being here today. That concludes our meeting for today. Remember, imagine Rotary. Have a great week. See you next week.